So I've had some requests from you guys to show you what my setup is, both physical and in-game, for how my accuracy is so good and how I'm able to get quite stable crosshairs, because a lot of people are saying, you know, oh, my plane moves all over the place, my crosshair moves all over the place. So I thought, right, okay, I'll show you my sim setup, and then I'll also show you my control setup, and sort of kill two birds with one stone. So, taking a step back here, we got the computer, laptop, well, computer screen, laptop, the physical computer is there, speaker, screen 2, and we have my control setup. So what we have here is a Thrustmaster T16000 HOTAS setup. Now, I do have rudder pedals on order, but they haven't arrived yet. At the moment, I've got the stick and the throttle. I can't recommend these enough if you're looking for a HOTAS system on a relatively tight budget. Like, they're a lot, they are definitely on the cheaper end, but they're still very, very good. Until my rudder pedals arrive, I'm currently using this, which is a set of like bumper things on the back of the throttle, which I use as my rudder. I find it's a lot more effective than using the twist axis on the stick itself. The rudder's got plenty of things you can bind stuff to, and if you set up an alternate keybind on the keyboard, you can, or on this, you can basically double the keybinds you have. So this button here, for me, actually presses the shift key on my keyboard. So I can use shift plus these buttons here to double the amount of buttons that I have mapped. So I never need to worry about using the keyboard anymore when playing VR, except to type. Speaking of VR, it lives under there. It's just on a little hook, so it's out of the way, and then, you know, when it's time to play, I just get the VR out, and away we go. And for those of you who somehow don't know what VR headset I'm using, it is an Oculus Rift S. It is serving me very well so far, and I think I shall hold on to it for at least another year or two. And in terms of recording my sound normally, we have got my headphone on a Rode boom arm, and we have my 3D printed pop filter, which is made using the materials from like a lingerie washing bag thing. I was quite poor when I made this, but it gets the job done. So that is the hardware. What we'll do now is we will go into computer land, and I will show you the software setup. And you'll have to excuse my incredibly messy desktop here, but I just wanted to show you what I have sort of in the background. So I have Voice Meter Banana, which I use for my different audio sources and things like that, so I can filter certain things from recording and streaming. I have Joy to Key, which binds my second button on my joystick to the shift key. And I run something called Oculus Tray Tool, which is an app you can get for your computer, which basically overrides the settings of Steam VR or whatever it is you're using for your games. I'm using that more for IL-2, but I do have the super sampling turned up a bit for War Thunder as well, just to help improve clarity. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do you actually just record the one eye with a VR headset? Because usually if you're trying to record in VR, it's going to try and capture both eyes. So I've got a program here called Oculus Mirror, which you can download from, I think, Oculus itself. And basically, when the VR headset is on, you can go to the settings on this app and set it to, you know, only record one eye and all of this stuff here. This is how I have my graphics set up for VR. I just have it on high. I used to have to be a bit more specific with it, but since some of the latest updates, I find the game is far more optimized than it was before, so I can get away with my system running it on high. When I play tanks, I run it on max. So what we'll do, we'll get into the game, and I'll quickly show you my control setup for Sim that I'm currently running with the new hardware, with the Thrustmaster setup. Now, before I go into the controls, I just want to disclose, you have the option with most joysticks to calibrate them and set up curves and things like that outside of the game, and they will then be applied to whatever other game you play with said flight stick. I have left everything default. Everything is essentially out of the box with the flight stick. I haven't customized anything yet. So what settings we have in the game is based off me having the stick and throttle at their normal default settings in terms of sensitivity and movement curves. So in my control setup for this, I've got my throttle axis, obviously, for the new HOTAS axis. Now, in terms of roll, pitch, and yaw, roll sensitivity is 52%, pitch sensitivity is 51%, and yaw sensitivity is 44%. I have the percentages turned down a bit on this because the stick has more traverse, basically can move further backward and forward, left and right than the old one, to put it in layman's terms. Now going into the axis itself, for roll, my dead zone is 0.04. Non-linearity, I've left it at 1. Actually, I used to have it at a higher setting for the old flight stick, but I don't feel like I need it for this one. And multiplier is 0.85, and there is nothing on the correction. For pitch, it's exactly the same. And for yaw, I was clicking on the wrong thing, it is exactly the same as well. So I honestly don't have much in terms of customization for this setup. I have found this stick and throttle incredibly smooth out of the box. And because of that, I haven't needed to customize it as much as I did with the old Logitech. Now, the reason I had to customize the Logitech so much was probably because of its age. It was very old and worn out, and, you know, the springs weren't as good as they were and all of that. So if you have a new Logitech 3D Pro, you might not have had all the issues that I did, but that is essentially my setup. It's really simple nowadays. In terms of accuracy and getting guns on target and reducing wobble, I'm going to be doing some videos on this, but in a nutshell, have a steady hand, know your aircraft, and have your aircraft trimmed, because trimming can make a huge difference with keeping the aircraft stable when you're doing those fine adjustments when you're getting close to a target or if you're in a tight dogfight. That's all I can really say on the matter at the moment, but I just thought I'd bang out a quick video today to show you what my setup was, what I'm working with, and how relatively simple my control setup is now with this new HOTAS. So, you know, I'm very happy with it, and I'm kind of hoping this video helps out some people, but I kind of feel like I've just waffled on for 10 minutes, so if that's the case, I apologize. But thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Ta-da!